it has definitely been a few days. I actually had a video that I had exported and all that sweet jazz, but I just listened to it, looked it over, and my opinion wasn't worth it. But I've had astral projections. I've had ones where reality completely collapsed into a single point, which was just me, and then shot back out. I also had another one where I was here and I was flying through space, and this is supposed to go into permanent peace, and permanent peace is just that, a course that teaches you how to exist with permanent peace. And it doesn't really feel right to just add an astral projection technique, because the more I realize that this lifestyle, which is a technique in itself, naturally produces astral projections, I think that's what I should just do, is just live this lifestyle and have that be the technique itself. Simple enough, because it's a simple lifestyle. But I'm gonna go astral project, and I think it's gonna be really funny when the next video is me coming out of bed going, oh my god, you guys will not believe it. But with that, see you guys soon. Dude, holy cow. Okay, so astral projections, yes, I astral projected for like the equivalent of 3 to 4 days. Yeah, I spent 3 or 4 days in the astrals, and what was only like maybe 6. Yeah, it was probably like 6 or 7 hours here. Super freaking cool. This is like the 3rd time where what happens. Okay, I'm gonna see, how can I explain this idea? So any idea that you have right now that you haven't acted upon is essentially in seed form. And so in a future now moment, it will have progressed enough to where it has actually manifested in your future. Whether it is a vacation, right now in your head it's just a seed form. I want to take a vacation. But let's say 2 months from now, you're out in the Bahamas chilling on a resort that you ended up planning out a reservation for 5 days. You brought all these friends, and so you see how that idea eventually, grows out, and it is your future. But it's also in this now moment. So in this now moment, I'm full with a ton of different seeds of ideas that I want to act upon. So in the past, I have astral projected into the future, a potential future of what it would look like if these seeds fully see themselves through. And from there, I can see if I'm actually that happy and where I'm going to be, and then I come back here and readjust myself accordingly. So I live the life that I actually want to live, very consciously. So that happened last night. And what happened was I was very successful. I had a girlfriend, but it just like the actions that were happening were very non-lasting. The happiness was very temporary. It was very equivalent to just like doing a drug. Like you do it, you get the high, and then you come down. That's it. That's all it is. Drinking alcohol, no different from people. They get drunk and then they come back and they're like, oh, life still sucks. So I was very successful, all these things, but it was interesting how it was being presented to me, because right now there's my body, and then behind that there's the ego, the character that's using this body as a tool to express itself, and then one step behind that is the infinite, the observer, the creator of the ego and the body and everything else. Let's just call it awareness, that which is aware. So what was going on is my body and my ego in this experience were having their thing, and my awareness would be housed within the body, and then it would get pulled out, and I would view everything from a bird's eye view. Myself, my girlfriend, my immediate, it was family members, not my immediate family, but it's closer family. And I would see how everything's playing out, how the interactions were actually going, how everyone was actually feeling and thinking. And then I would get put back into my body and experience everything from that view. But there was no interruption when it came to my body and my mind. Like if I was driving, this would happen, and I would view the car from a third's eye view, and I would like move around and view the scenery and all this stuff. But the JC that was driving was not freaking out because his awareness is out in the car and all that stuff. No, he just kept going. It was very similar to when I when I met Maharaji and I saw Lord Surya, when I viewed the sun, my awareness, the focal point, got pulled out into the sun, and I witnessed the sun. And then when I came back here, I had the journal that had the meditation. I still had memories of him giving me that meditation and what happened through my physical body's eyes, but I was also had memories and experiences of something else where my awareness was somewhere else. The focal point wasn't in the body. So that's how that situation was panning out. So there was no interruptions. Everything played itself out smoothly. And it just showed me that you could get a ton of money, you can get anything you want, but you're still not fulfilled. It's not worth it, man. And it's different to be told that rather than to actually genuinely experience it. When you have more money than you know what to do with, you're spending it stupidly. When you have more time than you know what to do with, so you're just spending it with other people who have a lot of money and aren't really that fulfilled themselves. And eventually I went back home and I saw my younger brother, and we had some exchange, which was personal, but I did reach out to him to see if he remembers anything from last night, to see if there was any effect there. But yeah, that's not really something I'm going to talk about here. However, the next thing was also really cool, because what ended up happening is I did go back to my immediate family's home. And if you were watching me back in June and all that stuff, when I did actually have to move back home for a 2-month span, that's the house I'm talking about. And so I was in that, I went back into my room in there, which it was different. It was weird. It was like a mix of this room and a room inside that house. I realized it had been violated. One of my cousins had gone inside that room, and I don't really like that for like sacred spaces. I like it to just house my energy and me. It's like my sacred space, my place to think. So I got upset, and instead of getting mad at him, I was just gonna eat stress food. I didn't care. I just wanted a happy drug, sugar, basically. Dopamine crystallized. And what happened was odd, because again, my awareness pulled out of my body and my mind. And when this happens, I can still feel what I'm thinking. I can still witness what I'm thinking and what my body physically is going through, and those around me as well. It's super weird, but cool. And what I witnessed was, okay, I explained this better in one of the other recordings. It's like my 7th time trying to record this. Okay, so everything that's going on, me eating the food, me being upset about all that stuff, well, no, physically, everything that's going on, me eating the food, is right here, okay? This is the bottom layer, the foundation. What gets superimposed on top of that, placed on top of that, is the internal experience of me going like, ugh, why'd he do that? Why was he in this room? I'm just gonna eat this food. I know I shouldn't eat this food. I don't want to eat this food, but it's just gonna make me feel better. I don't care. I'm just gonna enjoy the sweetness. I'm just gonna sugarness, right? So what happens is when those two layers on top of each other, and then you view it from the top down, that's how you're viewing that whole physical experience, is through the lens of what is layered right on top of it. I can change that layer that is superimposed on top of me eating that food to something else, and it would change the whole narrative of that experience. So what was going on there was I was witnessing, to the degree that food affects the outside, the perspective on what is going on outside. There are an infinite potential of perspectives for what is going on outside of me, but it all depends on how I'm viewing it internally. That is the genuine perspective. I hope I worded that in a way that makes sense. I hope I did. I know it was kind of weird, but either or. The reason I was given this was because last night I wanted chips and hummus. I normally don't eat that. I don't. It's like a treat for me. But I had, I just had some, and I was like, oh, that's a shame. That's gonna ruin your good pooping schedule because you were just eating good fruits. And I don't know, I just kind of beat myself up for it. And I was like, oh, like you're just not gonna be able to astral project tonight. You're not gonna do all these things, blah, blah, blah. But then I figured out some stuff later on, which like it totally made it fine. But this was just another really, really powerful example of how my perspective internally completely affected my physical body, how I was feeling an hour later, 2 hours later, all these things purely because of an internal perspective on the food. The food did nothing. The food was literally nothing. The food was just another expression of consciousness. That's all it was. And then I came back here, and then I was like, whoa, I wasn't out for 4 days. And then as I was trying to remember everything so I could write it down and dissect it, I just kept astral projecting over and over and over again and fulfilling subtle desires, which was very odd, but it was really cool because I was able to do it at a pace that was a lot quicker than what it would have taken me in physical time. So like one of the things that I dealt with was body dysmorphia. Body dysmorphia, simply put, is where you look at yourself in the mirror and you just don't really see how beautiful you are, but rather you see all the things that are wrong with you that might not necessarily even exist, such as like bodybuilders, they can't see their muscle. People who are anorexic can't see how skinny they are. They just see the fat in them. They just see the skinniness in them, either or, depending on which one you were of those two examples. But I have my own body dysmorphia, and it spikes up when I don't eat correctly, because then I'm like, you slob. But I projected out. I wasn't wearing any clothes. I went to the mirror in my bathroom and I just handled it in the astrals. It was really cool. And I came back here and I was like, wow, that took like 20 seconds. But over there, it felt like that took like 2 to 3 minutes. So I did it in like a 1/6 to a 1/9 of the time. And then I checked my phone in the astrals, and then I came back here and I was like, wow, I'm glad I did that rather than actually hurt my physical eyes by doing that. And it was just really entertaining, just really tiny little things. But I've done this before where I really wanted to work out, and again, back in like July when I was living in my immediate family's home, I worked out in the astrals when I didn't have any means to do the exercises that I wanted to do physically. And so that was really cool to pan that out, and my physical body actually responded to those astral projections. So that was really cool. The physical body and the astral body, when you start to astral project more consciously, they merge together very, very well. And so there really is no difference. What happens to one is going to happen to the other. Let's put it like that. Even now, it's still happening to people. I don't think most people are aware to the degree of which that it happens, that collateral effect. Either or, I've been talking for a long time and I need to go start my day. So love you guys, and I'll see you guys soon. Oh, before I go,